He'll be here shortly.
Okay.
All right. Comments and suggestions from the community? Comments and suggestions from the EMS staff?
Ben?
Hi,
Aye.
my name is Dominic, I'm one of the paramedics, been in the service 22 years. Just a quick suggestion, I know there was talk about adding more sleep rooms downstairs, that hasn't happened yet, I know there's talk of us moving, I heard that maybe it's been axed, but last night there were 3 people on duty, we have 3 sleep rooms, I could have been a 4th, but I wasn't willing to pick up that extra spot to work last night, because I'm not willing to come in here and sleep in the chair if I have that opportunity. We really need to figure out a way to accommodate the staff, if we want to have staff that's done it here. It seems like a really simple request, and yet we haven't been able to meet that yet.
Okay.
One other comment I have, it's kind of been eaten at me, I really hope that I'm wrong in my assessment, but coming next Tuesday, Monday the 1st, we're going to a new staffing model. Since that model's been introduced, we've lost a significant, well, not a significant number, but a few of our EMTs that generally work like 40 to 50 hours a week have had to leave and find employment elsewhere because they're not going to be able to make the amount of money they need when they're limited to 24 hours a week. So we've lost some significant coverage by losing those 2 or 3 EMTs. I feel that we're kind of on the brink, and on Monday we're going to have a serious problem getting our shirts off the hook with our new staffing model. I know it's very late in the game. I wish there was a way to push that out 3 months to get these new EMTs that we've hired on board and trained up. I'm just really concerned that we're going to have some pretty significant issues next week with getting the trucks out the door.
How many paramedics have you lost?
Not paramedics,
Oh.
EMTs.
EMT, sorry.
I know 2, there's probably a few more. 2 for sure have left, and they haven't left the service, but they've gotten jobs elsewhere.
Yeah,
They were routinely working 40 to 60 hours a week here,
got it.
and with our new model, we're going to limit them to 24 hours a week, so they need to find employment elsewhere.
So they're working for the city and for their new job, or is it they're gone?
Correct. They're going to continue to work here, but they're limited to 24 hours a week under the new model.
Yeah,
They've been
I'm just
routine-
trying to get the information, that's all.
Yep.
And we can discuss this under item number 10.
Yeah,
That's all. I'm just really concerned about that, and I just wanted to.
Thank you.
Chief,
you.
I take it the sleep rooms, there's sleep rooms in the new building?
There was plans in the new building, yes.
Yeah. How many were in that one?
We were gonna have 5.
Okay. I've got a note to discuss this under number 10.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Discussion and possible action on ad hoc committee minutes of 11:29. Do I hear a move to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, minutes approved. Discussion and possible action on survey results and interviews of employees. So,
We've had one request that came to all of us to be interviewed.
Wasn't, you had to go talk to Devin?
yes, okay, so and I talked to Catherine
Yeah.
as well. And first of all, she said that the law is pretty clear that you want as much transparency as possible. And so it's preferred that even if we have 5 on the committee, but now with just 2, if you have any meetings that involve 2 of the committee members, then they do have to be noticed. So then, if the 2 of you are going to do any interviews together, or get together to discuss the interviews, then you would have to have an open meeting for that. And, let's see, what else?
Are you talking about the work groups?
We're
For
talking about
the,
work groups, yes,
Talk about the individual one-on-ones.
but it's tied into the work groups as well.
but I thought the discussion was that either Paul would interview people individually or that Paul and I, or possibly Paul and I and the chief would, so that's not the committee.
You could do that.
Okay, so that would be
That-
legal and that would be,
That wouldn't be a
The most
problem because there's
appropriate way
only
to
one
handle that.
committee member on that, in that group.
You
okay.
might also ask John if he'd want to sit in on some of those since he's not yet a committee member.
And that would be fine. Until he's a member of the,
Yeah.
officially a member of the committee, there shouldn't be a problem with that.
I think that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Not speaking for you, John.
I'm here till the second week of January, then I'm gone for 2 weeks, and then here again.
Okay. So, how do you want to proceed?
Joe and I will talk about after work tonight, or after,
After the meeting? Mhm.
yeah.
Okay,
Joe, I'll call you.
Sure.
Deal.
Do you have my information?
Contact list, Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I got your information.
okay, just making sure.
all right. So you're going to take charge of the interviews then?
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
get it started and get it done with.
All right. And then Bill, were you going to be a part of that, or are you going to just,
Well, it can't be both of us.
unless you want to have open meetings? Which doesn't sound like that's what you're
Probably
looking.
not the best way to do it. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Probably not, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then, all right.
Why don't you go ahead, Paul? You know this system a
Yep.
lot better than I do, but if you need a relief or you can't meet with somebody, let me know and
Yeah.
I'll step in.
You cool?
Yeah, I think it should just be maybe put on the record that the reason that in my opinion, and Paul can chime in, that maybe an open meeting isn't the best is because it's a lot of personnel issues that are being discussed. Just so people watching are going,
Yes.
why wouldn't you want to have an open meeting?
Right.
I think it should be at least restricted initially as the data is reviewed, and then it can be disseminated to whoever needs it, but
Yes, we have to be very careful about maintaining privacy of the individuals, so that if there are some employee issues that are being discussed, that there is no, that we maintain the confidentiality. And then, and so that's an issue that really needs to be addressed. Some other things that Devin had suggested was that when in the interviews that you're careful not to, that you take notes and you gather information without entering into a discussion or feeding the issues.
Yeah, I understand what.
And I know,
Yeah.
I know you do, but I'm passing on the information from.
Gotcha, I
from Devin.
appreciate it.
Mhm. So, all right. And then the other thing that came up from Catherine was that we've identified some morale issues, and in her opinion, those should be addressed by Brandon.
Mhm.
And so we as a committee should be forwarding that information to Brandon, and that we shouldn't be discussing that as a committee. And I think some of that has to do with the confidentiality of employees as well. But I don't want to put words in her mouth, because that's not what she said, but, you know, I think that's my opinion.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. So. All right. Any other questions or information on the survey results or interviews of employees? Do we want to do another survey where we dig a little deeper, or
If you give me,
continue things?
if you give me 2 weeks on this first.
Mm-hmm, okay.
I think we can move forward on that. Yeah, I don't know if a nurse survey's,
So not yet? Mhm.
not yet, no.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we'll continue with that. All right. Thank you. Number 6, discussion and possible action on work groups. So, we had decided to postpone forming any other work groups until we get to 5. I did call the mayor to find out whether he has had a chance to review John's qualifications, and he said that he has not, that he's really busy at the end of the year with his financial planning business, so, but I will keep after him. Hopefully he will have time to do that before our first meeting in January of the council, so that that can be done, but just want to give you an update. Anything else on work groups? All right, discussion and possible action on applicants for open ad hoc committee position. So I just gave you an update. Are there any other comments or suggestions or questions about that?
Anybody else expressed any interest?
Just Mike Bannerman.
Right.
Okay. Number 8, discussion and possible action on consolidation of local EMS services. So this was something that was in the River Falls study. Any ideas or suggestions? Is this something that we should be looking at?
I'd like to table it to the next meeting.
Okay,
My limited knowledge of it, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is something that's been kicked around for probably the last 20 or 30 years, isn't it?
Yeah, the last study, at least 10 years ago was,
I mentioned that as well.
yeah, they
Mhm.
looked into it too, so.
And I don't know the rationale for nobody proceeding with it, but I'm assuming there is a reason.
Well, Brandon, you've addressed that.
Yeah, at the time, there was issues with maintaining identity and having their own control, local control. That was the previous discussion. I don't know what the current flavor would be or what they would think.
I think the reason to look at it is now that both organizations are in flux in terms of what they're gonna look like and trying to say, okay, how do we make a shift in how we are and how we financially are stable. So that's the main reason I think we need to at least look at it and see, because that's one of the things I get out of the study is a recommendation is to look at partnering for River Falls. So they should be more open to that. That can take all kinds of forms, so it's just like what we will want to, my personal opinion is we'll want to open that discussion and just see where are we. We can't just say, nope, we're not going to do that. We do need to take a look at it, see how that works for us. That's my opinion, but after, could I ask why you want to table it? You want to get the input?
Just because I'm gonna be focused on the employee thing, and I really don't wanna get too many irons in the fire for myself. 2 weeks, I'll be able to really focus on it.
Okay. So, so do we agree that this is something that we should be looking at?
Yeah, I'm not saying no to it at all, I'm just saying that
Okay,
I can't take on too much, I mean, I
right,
gotta,
oh, yeah. All right, so then let's keep this on the agenda. Any other discussion on that? I think that it's worth looking at to see whether there would be some cost savings there, whether we could, so for example, the night shifts are pretty quiet. That might be something where we could save some money if we had some alternative ideas for coverage on the night shifts. But, okay, we'll keep that on the agenda then. All right, discussion of Plainview, Lake City, and River Falls assessments. Has anybody had a chance to look through them at all? I've gone through most of the River Falls one.
yeah, River Falls is the only one I've looked at,
Okay, anything that popped out at you, or,
it's long,
yes?
70,
I know.
75 pages, yeah.
All right, should we be prioritizing these so that we can, or
Right.
having somebody summarize them for us?
Perhaps we could do that. But I like what the Lake City and Plainview probably didn't apply nearly as much as the River Falls, but they're just entirely different situations, very small towns, and they are rural. So that was the problems, the solution to their problems is probably going to be different than any direction that we take. But it's good learning, but I don't see much potential for their solutions helping us. Just providing a line. But it's good it's good reading to understand the kinds of problems, and they're all having problems with resources. So it's. But will definitely help if you have insomnia. But River Falls one reads pretty good because I can look at it, I see the parallels. But the other one just said, well, different story, but it's interesting.
Who did the assessment for the River Falls one, do you know?
It's a professional organization. Let me see, Emergency Services Consulting International. Sounds big.
Okay. Should we keep that on the agenda then for next time? Okay. EMS items for discussion only. So EMTs lost to the new model and then sleep rooms. So any comments on either of those topics?
The sleep rooms basically comes down to space. We looked at consolidating and moving offices, but that doesn't give us the privacy if we have to address an employee issue or anything like that. We would end up being in a joint office. So we moved away from that idea. We're beyond our space limitations downstairs.
What about putting in a wall or some kind of a divider in the one room?
We could look into it. I don't think that's a very good solution.
It's up to the staff that's gonna sleep there. I mean, is the
Yeah.
divider gonna satisfy you guys?
Well, won't satisfy those ever sleeping in the same room as me.
Right. So,
We also have to look into, like, there's females and males on the staff.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean,
Yes.
there's only one room that's private, and what if you have 2 females and 1 male? Or 3 females and 1 male.
Okay.
we have 5 beds, but only 3 bedrooms. But like she said, there's mixed staff, and I don't think a divider is probably the best solution at all.
Are there any suggestions from the staff then, what we can do to handle this?
I don't really have another suggestion other than we completely outgrew downstairs.
Yes, we're aware of that.
I mean, that's really my only suggestion.
Okay.
I sleep down all the time. It's fine when there's just a few people on or medics are sleeping at home, but we're moving to medics staying down at the station, so now there's gonna be a lot more people sleeping down there, and that gets difficult. I've personally slept in the chairs and on the couch, and it's not
No,
comfortable.
that's not an optimum
Especially when
solution.
you're down here for 24 hours straight.
Yeah.
Okay. What can we do?
We seriously need to look at the facilities discussion and move that forward a little quicker.
Okay, so then that needs to be moved to the EMS commission. Some of it's gonna depend on, find out from the study and how soon the study is finished for the Ward Avenue. Okay.
And that's above all of us.
And that's the biggest issue, and that's what I keep hearing from staff. When I took this position, we had talked about whatever staff would email me. I don't have any concrete emails or names. This is hearsay, so I don't know if it's what you want to hear. But the problem is, no matter what you come up with, it's what the commission comes up with and what we come up with here and what's discussed. This is happening next week.
Yes.
So we can discuss and we can table and we can see what the commission says, but in less than a week, this is
Yeah.
a catastrophe, so.
Okay, and meanwhile, we've got to find something that's gonna work. So,
Why do we have to wait until the fire department study's done on Ward Avenue? Our building's already there, the one that's staying, regardless of fire building, their new one or not.
I would say, well, everyone thinks it's going to work, but a true design study for the property hasn't been done. You know, so that's, as soon as that's done, then we say, yep, for sure, you know, that solution's gonna work with a new fire building and the EMS in the western building. So that's, no one wants to pull the trigger on that until we know that for a fact, that officially, the engineering work has been done, all the designs have been done, exact placement of buildings has been determined, so. That's where we're at. And I think, I'm just trying to remember, is that due the 8th? The report? I can't remember.
I don't know if they gave us an exact date for completion.
So I guess that's what we need to do is
Okay.
Get that moved as quickly as possible. In the interim, what are you gonna do? I mean, you're the guy that's got to
Yeah, you know, and
juggle this.
I was thinking about seeing if there's any other space within this building to relocate an office, and I know that's not gonna be an option either. So we're gonna have to look at adding a solid wall to one of the rooms. And it's gonna be construction costs and making that happen, which the space is already pretty small.
And you'll have to check with the building inspector to make sure that it's legal for you to partition things. Okay.
Is postponing the change an option?
I don't know. I'd have to check with finance on that because the way it's budgeted, it would change. So.
Okay.
And what would that, I mean, there's two things. One, does it work financially, and the other one is it going to work for the staff? So that's the.
Right. We'd have to have solid commitment that the shifts are going to get filled either way. So I wouldn't want to go back to that unless there was solid commitment that they're going to be filled.
Okay. So then you'll look into the partitioning the sleeping rooms? Okay.
Yeah, it'd have to be a solid wall, make it a separate room or
Yes.
have a door.
Yes, privacy.
Yeah, just throwing a divider between the two beds doesn't work.
No, I mean, each person should have an individual spot.
And I think it's worth mentioning, just in case people are wondering why we need sleeping quarters. We don't, there's some models that staff only work 12-hour shifts, but to get the shifts that we have currently open, to get them covered, a lot of us are working 24, if not 36-hour shifts.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're working a 9-to-5 job and we need a place to nap during our 9-to-5 job. We're here 24 to 36 hours. So the sleep rooms are crucial. It's not just we want to take a nap in the middle of our shift.
Yeah.
We understand.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right. How are things going as far as hiring EMTs and filling the shifts?
Job posting closes this Friday for
Okay.
the part-time positions, so we'll know on applications then.
Okay.
We have 2 paramedic applications, and we'll be interviewing them.
Okay. So are you losing some EMTs due to the change?
There's a great decrease in their hours that they're able to work because
Okay.
of the benefits.
So they're
So
not
that
leaving, they're
We're
just,
very limited to what they can do.
yeah.
So if they get another opportunity elsewhere where they could get more hours,
Mhm.
they're gonna take it.
Okay. Any other EMS items for discussion only? All right, future agenda items?
I'll have when's the next meeting?
Oh,
It would be the,
the 10th.
I'll have the do I call employees, staff? I'll have the staff's, reviews done by then. So I'll have a report on that.
Okay. Anything else for future agenda items? Okay.
Do we want to assign the Plainview, Lakeview, and River Falls assessments? Do you want to assign, one,
One person to each of them?
yeah, so we
Okay,
kind of can discuss and,
all right. Which one,
Is
how
it,
should we divide these up?
I've not read any of them, I'm embarrassed to confess. But those of you who had, would you agree that the River Falls one is the one that's most appropriate for us?
when I went through them and just paged through it,
Yeah.
River Falls did appeal to me because it is
It's a very similar service, yes.
So maybe we should all commit to reading the River Falls
Yeah.
one before the next
Okay.
meeting.
And
but
then-
also my wife got me St. Paul,
Oh,
and St. Paul's is really intriguing.
oh,
But I'm,
Do you have a link to it so that we could each download that one?
she's crazy. She just printed it out for me, handed it to me, and said, "Start reading this." So,
you did, so it worked.
yeah, it worked.
Okay. Well, if you can get a link to it to Joanne, that would be helpful, so then we can,
You'll be surprised. I'll
Okay.
probably get a text here in a couple minutes.
I think I have a hard copy of that one
you
downstairs.
have a hard
too.
copy? Okay.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like
perfect.
120 pages, is that
Yeah.
the one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, then we can scan it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that would be
Or
good.
at least a summary of it, if there's a
Yeah,
Yeah, there's,
a decent
good, isn't
summary
it?
Yeah.
section.
Yep,
Yeah.
there's some good info.
they
in there.
they don't mess around.
okay. Well, Minnesota has a group that is dedicated to doing this for Minnesota EMS groups. And they are state employees who go around and do this. So I guess they're divided up into different regions and so that is their job to do this all over the state. And I talked to one woman whose job it was, and she's the one who sent me the Lake City and Plainview studies. So, yes, I would say that the River Falls one would be the best one, and then, once you get through the River Falls, then it sounds like the St. Paul one would be a good one to take a look at too. But don't be afraid to skim. And look for the nuggets.
yeah,
So, one would be River Falls.
So we're just, by the 10th, you guys look over the River Falls one, and by then, yeah,
yes.
right. So we all got our homework.
Yeah, let's start with the River Falls. And then if you have time to, then I think the second one should be the St. Paul. All right, so our next meeting is January 10th, 6:30. Will everybody be available for that one?
I will not.
That's right, okay. But Josh will be here to, in your stead, okay?
Yeah, in the interim, if anything comes up and you have questions ahead of the meeting, just email them to me and I'll try to get it answered.
Okay.
I'll be in training basically till June on Wednesday nights, so.
Mhm. Anything else that we need to go over? Is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I didn't hear an ayes from.
Aye, sorry.
I said aye.
All right, we're adjourned, thank you.
Calendar update.